Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Allison Rouse, author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie, me. That's right. Where you can get my book, and these ones as well, my merchandise, because I do have merchandise, where you can get the cocktail or beer of the day, Patreon, all that is, you know where it is. It's down, down, down. And you won't get a tap, tap, tap from me if you go down, because I like it when you click my links. All right. And as always, thank you to the awesome community I have here. And the bonding that we're all doing, the stories, the other groupies, the new people, all the musicians, everybody, the guys, the rock fans. Thank you so much for building this community with me. I cannot tell you, truly, it's the most amazing, awesome gift, wonderful part of this all. So thank you guys so much. And welcome to the new members, and I hope you enjoy the community here as well, because I really do enjoy meeting you guys, and that really is me answering everybody. I'm not like other groupies with books and stuff who just kind of ignore and go on, although I do really suck at answering emails. I get to them eventually, but I just get busy, and it's just like my fridge. I don't open it up all the time. It's not like nasty or anything, but cleaning it out is not always my best asset. It's my vice. But yeah, so you guys really, really, truly mean the world to me, and I will get back to all those emails very, very soon. Okay, so I really love you guys. Keep it coming. Keep the comments. Keep the friendships building. You guys rock. I can't even tell you how much. My damn bangs. All right, so today on Cocktails and Rocktails, we're just going to talk about a few little odd rock and roll stories. No big, just a few little odd things that, you know, happened along the way in my rock life that are kind of funny, kind of amusing, and at least pissed off one rock star. And I'm just going to finish what I started drinking on my last one, which is a Bloody Mary Michelada. Now, this is I used Francis Scanner, some spicy V8 juice and stuff, because it's just beer and Bloody Mary mixed together pretty much. But I like mine super spicy. So, everybody, grab your spices, kick up your feet, join me and Sophia for a little Cocktails and Rocktails, okay? Cheers, big ears. I love it. Okay, so like I said, this is just sort of a smattering of little stories that happened over the years. No particular time, no particular era. So we're going to start off. Somebody asked me if I met Peter Frampton. I'd say sort of. And by sort of, this is why. Now, this happened right after the Metallica wreck. Because I had just wrecked my car with a couple Metallica roadies. And, yeah, the boys came to the hospital. My mom was like, what the fuck? But anyway, so this was not long after the Metallica wreck, when I had wrecked my car before I got a new one. Davide had inherited, and she still has this car to this day, a car from her dad, an old Corvair, convertible Corvair. It was black with white leather interior and a white leather, don't know if it was leather, but a white soft convertible top. So she was like, after I wrecked my car, she was like, here, just drive this car for a while. Because like I said, the Salt Lake City Welcoming Committee, we were a sisterhood. We were sisters, and we still are to this day. So when one of us was in trouble, the other one of us, we would all get together and help each other out the best we could. And she had this extra car that she had inherited. And like I said, it was very, very precious to her because she still has it to this day. It was mint condition Corvair. So she lends us the Corvair, right? And Danny and I were just cruising one day. This Corvair is going to come into play a couple times. So we're just cruising one day. We're like bored. You know, like I always say, we get bored as groupies when there's no bands in town. And when it was before the internet, we just would cruise downtown, go by all the hotels, and see if there were tour buses, and then go into the hotel bar and figure out what band it was. Which was always kind of fun. You never know what you got. It was like playing roulette. You're like, woohoo, Neil Diamond. Woohoo, Motley Crue. Whatever. Like I said, it was a grab bag of rock and roll. So Danny and I were just cruising downtown one day. didn't really see any tour buses, you know, at any of the hotels. So we're like, bummer, no band in town. And we were going to go get on the freeway when we're sitting there, top down, Corvair, because we lived way far from downtown at the time. But anyway, we were going to go on the freeway and just, you know, cruise back home, whatever. And all of a sudden, there's a tour bus pulling up next to us. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is this? And they were going out of town. They said, you know, we just kind of were looking at the tour bus. And you can always tell when they start looking out the windows because you can see those little blinds go up. Because most tour bus windows are tinted. And we didn't know who it was. We were just like, tour bus, home, second home, you know. And excited to see one of our, some, you know, tribe members. We don't know who you are, but we know you're part of our tribe because you're on a tour bus. So we start getting on the freeway, and they're going north, and we're supposed to be going south. So we're like, screw it, we're going north with these guys. And then we could just see guys coming up at the window. We did not know who this was. So we decided we're cruising down the freeway. We're going to chase right alongside with them. We're just screaming down to the Corvair. I get up on the back of the seat and whoo, give him a good free little show of my bells. And then you see two guys come to the bus door, and the light by the tour manager or by the bus driver goes on, and the bus is still moving. So the guys walk up to the bus door, and they're like, pull over, pull over. We're like, okay. So we all pull over, like at the next stop at this big gas station, you know, probably a truck stop. But anyway, so we all pull over, and it turns out it's Peter Frampton. Then we've been cruising for 10 minutes down the freeway next to, just waving, and they're like, hey girls, and you can see them at the window, we're waving, and then when they come to the bus door and pull over, and Peter Frampton comes out, he's like, that was a first. Really? And you know, they were like, oh, come in, we've got a few extra hours, you know, we just weren't doing anything after the show, so we decided to get an early start, blah, 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 right? So they had a couple hours to kill, so we just got on the bus. They were on their way out of town. And we got on that bus, and they pulled over for us. But, you know, we had already heard about Peter Frampton. Like, he had a very, very small pinky. Because, ladies, if you want to know the size, look at the pinky. If it's as big as that ring finger and he's got big hands, you ride that till it falls off. But Peter Frampton was known for having a very small pinky. We don't do small pinkies. No. Don't do small pinkies. But anyway, so we just hung on that bus, and they thought that we were the kind of girls to get, and we're like, oh, no, we're the Salt Lake City sisters. We're the part of the Salt Lake City welcoming committee. We're the usual sisters, you know. And Peter Frampton was like, oh my God, and one of the roadies like, I've heard about you, blah, 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 blah. Where were you girls tonight at the show? We're like, we didn't know you were here. But yeah, so we just sort of hung out on the bus for a couple hours. They thought they were going to get a little, it doesn't work that way. You actually had to work to get one of us from the Salt Lake City Welcoming Committee. You couldn't just, you know, and we were easy, but so were the musicians. They were like, you know, shooting fish in a barrel. We were more like trying to capture a mermaid in a swimming pool. We'll swim around and play the chase game for a while, but we'll eventually get you in because we were the sirens. But so anyway, so that's my Peter Frampton story. Just a quick couple hours hanging on the bus, having a beer, talking to Peter Frampton and his band, and gave him a little ego boost and something to talk about on the way up to Seattle or Oregon or wherever they were going. So there's my Peter Frampton story. And the next story also involves the Corvair. Because, again, it was not too long after the Metallo wreck. And Danny and I were downtown. Davide, she had actually lived a little bit north of Salt Lake City. So she didn't actually live. She lived in Salt Lake City for a couple years. But this was before she had actually moved down to Salt Lake City. So, and started dancing with me. But so, I had started dancing. I was a year or so into dancing. I think David had just started dancing with us, actually, with me at American Bush. But anyway, so Danny and I were going downtown because we wanted to do some shopping. There were some concerts coming up, and you can't be seen wearing the same clothes. So we always went shopping right before the concerts and got different outfits. So anyway, we were downtown shopping, and we'd just woken up out of bed, as you know, young girls do. Woke up out of bed. I had some cut off, like, sweatpants, you know, because it was the grunge era. Combat boots. I had a flannel tied around my waist and just a t-shirt on. My hair in a ponytail. And pretty much the same with Danny, but we had a bunch of bags. And as we were walking through Crossroads Mall, which was connected to the Marriott downtown, now it is City Creek Mall. But anyway, so we were just goofing off, you know, and it was three or four stories with the bottom level. Yeah, so with 4 stories with the bottom level. And we were coming out of Nordstrom's on the 3rd level, and we're heading towards the elevators. They had these glass elevators. So while we were in the elevators, we looked down, and we didn't know anybody was in town. We looked down, and we see these 2 guys. One of them's in all green leather, like the green leather jacket, like, you know, the more poofy hip-hop style with green leather pants. Another one's like in red leather or whatever. I think red and black leather and a t-shirt. And they're just shopping too. And we were looking at these guys. We're like, oh, wow, curious, you know, because they're stylish guys, and Salt Lake City doesn't have many of those. So we look over, we're kind of looking at them, we're like, is that who we think it is? We're like, holy crap, that's Ice-T. That's friggin' Ice-T. So we get off on that 2nd level. They just happen to be coming around the corner as we're getting out of this glass elevator. And they see us come out with our massive shopping bags, and we all just kind of lock eyes, and we just smile at them and keep going. And then all of a sudden from behind, we're like, hey, ladies. And we turn around, and there's Ice-T. And his bass player, or was it his drummer, Vic? Because Vic and I knew each other for a lot of years, even through my Vegas years. I've talked about him and I standing at the Hard Rock, looking at a picture of Body Count, because that's why Ice-T was in Salt Lake City that day, was to play this little club Deviate that I've talked about with my Jay Aston from Gene Loves Jezebel, that same club. And where Eddie Vedder and I were together. But, so anyway, they just saw us, and they were like, hey, ladies, what are you doing? And we're like, shopping. And they just started talking to us. They're like, yeah, we're playing. My band Body Count's in town. And was Ice-T's thrash band. Was a killer thrash band. I mean, that guy could friggin' rock. Seriously. That was a good thrash band. Really, really killer thrash band. If you guys want to hear it, look up Body Count. They rocked. So it was him and Vic, and one other guy came along somewhere along the way. And like I said, we just started talking. We gave them our phone number. They're like, yeah, you should come to the show tonight. So we did. Here's the pass. And hung out with Ice-T. It was just cool, you know, a bunch of people hanging out, smoking weed, having drinks. First time I had ever had Hennessy and stuff. Just having a really awesome time. So that's how I met Ice-T. And like I said, we stayed friends for a while, and I stayed in contact with Vic. Unfortunately, Vic passed away many years ago due to leukemia. God rest you, Vic. He was a really cool guy, and it was really cool to stand with him at the Hard Rock looking at a display of Body Count stuff. And he's in this picture, and he was so proud of that moment, which was really totally awesome. But that was the day we met Ice-T. And so when we were walking out, he's like, ladies, let me walk you to your car. And like I said, the Marriott was at the time connected to the mall. So we had just parked on the side of the Marriott where the buses usually parked. And they were like, here, let's walk you out to your car. So we were like, okay. So we go through the Marriott, go out that side door that you guys saw in one of my very first videos where I do a little tour of downtown. So we were coming out the side door and walked to the Corvair. They were like, holy crap, this is your car? We're like, no, this is our friend Davidy's, because I just totaled my car. But yeah, she's letting us use her car. So they were like, holy crap, just like geeking out over the car. That car got us more. That was a man-eating car, let me tell you. I love that car. Next time Davidy's in Salt Lake City, she's going to have to come down here with that. But so anyway, that's how we met Ice-T. Like I said, just hung out, went to the show, had a really great time. Really killer band. Lots of cool guys. Loved it. So, you know, that was even unexpected. Like I said, we weren't even showered yet. Like we told him, we have to go home so we can shower. So yeah, that was another unexpected one. Then many, many years later, I'd come back to Salt Lake City after John passed away. And my friend Paula, she was really good friends with Corey Draper and I. He's a big-time DJ that's been around for 30, 40 years, like a really long time. Is with K-Bear here, been on and off with them for 1,000 years. Done his own show. I've done a few interviews with Corey over the years. So I do one when I come back from that horrible relationship I was in 2014 when I released my book. So she's like, yeah, he would like to do another interview with you because she's really good friends with him. I'm like, cool, let's do it. So, and I'm sitting on a panel with 3 other women. One of them is a local reporter. One of them is the head of a women's rights group, and one is the founder of Surviving Victims group of SA. The reporter from Salt Lake City, and she's always been very open and very vocal about it and very supportive to other people about it, was SA'd as well. So here I am, like, and this other rocker was going to be on the phone interview later. So we're talking about a bunch of stuff, and we're all kind of sharing stories, and I'm saying, well, you know, rock and roll, blah, 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 and talking about my stories, talking about John and everything. And so we get later into the interview. These ladies are really awesome. We're having a great conversation. And we're talking about how, you know, because they were talking about, well, do rockers treat women disposably? Oh, no, they don't. My experience is we were very precious cargo, not cargo. We were a very precious part of the rock and roll family. So I'm reiterating this, you know, because that was my experience. It's not everybody's experience, as we know from the LA chicks, unfortunately for them. Which I'm sorry they had to go through that. But so it's time to get this rocker on the phone. And it is Aldo Nova. A lot of new people may not know who Aldo Nova is, but those of us that are my age or around it know his life is just a fantasy. Can you live this fantasy life song? What his biggest hit ever. And I was like, oh, really cool. I get to be on the same show as Aldo Nova. And like I said, I had already started talking, you know, talk to Corey about John and everything that was surrounded that, and my history with John and stuff like this. So we're on a break. There's commercials going, and he's got Aldo on speakerphone, and he's getting ready to interview him. And you know what Aldo says? He's like, oh, so you got the chick that killed Entwistle there, do ya? Ooh-uh-uh. Ooh-uh-uh. So I was like, hey, Aldo. I'm like, no. I'm like, you need to stop that right now. I'm like, I didn't kill him. Because, you know, I don't like being blamed for something I didn't do. And I don't like that being part of my legacy. So, and that just shows. And Aldo just was like, oh, you could tell. He tucked his little leg. Because he is a tiny little man. Tinier than Peter Frampton's little pinky, apparently. According to Sweet Sweet Connie. But so, yeah, I kind of scolded him, and you can hear that tail tuck, and he was like, I am so sorry, I am so sorry. Oh, God, I didn't mean to disrespect you. And those 3 other ladies looked at me and started laughing. They're like, you were right, you got those boys whipped. And I'm like, somebody's got to. Somebody's got to make them load the dishwasher. Keep one of their feet on the ground. Because you're not a good groupie if you're letting this guy believe he is a god. You know, and that's what bothers me about the 70s groupies, because they were gods, and our whole goal was to marry one. Well, that makes you a star effer. But anyway, you know, this is the first time in the 80s that the rockers were treated normally. They were not gods to us. They were just our friends and our lovers, and we weren't going to put up with any type of BS. So that just proved it right there. Those three ladies were very impressed. They're like, how do you do that? I'm like, I will tell you what, these rockers, they know the good groupies, they will cower down if they've made us angry. And they did, especially to us 80s ladies. Because us 70s ladies never got mad. They were just too happy to be part of the rockers' world. And us 80s groupies made it our world. They were just part of ours. So, but yeah, that was my story about telling Aldo Nova off and putting him in his place. And even Corey was like, I can't believe you just made him tuck his tail, and he was laughing about it. But yeah, so there it is. There's a few little obscure stories from my little rock and roll history. I think my favorite one is definitely the iced tea, but we definitely had more of a crazy, stupid, silly time topless in a convertible chasing Peter Frampton down the highway. But you know what? In all defense of groupies, when there hasn't been a band in town for like a month and you're bored and you've got nothing to do, hell, 2 hours of chasing that band down the freeway, that's good enough. Because at least we had some bus time. So, all right, there you guys go. Hope you liked my little babbly story today. And again, as always, thank you guys so much for the love and support. And for those of you who are not subscribed, go down, hit that subscribe button, hit the share, and hit my bells. Let's keep growing this channel. And for those of you not subscribed, you want to subscribe and become a member, because I've got cool stuff for everybody here that has been around, that is subscribing. Lots of cool stuff. So do it. Just go down. Do it, do it, do it. Just don't make me beg. Never had to before. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for all the love, and we'll see you next time on Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears. Why can't you see Sophia? Sophia. Oh, there we go. Cheers, big ears.